What's the verse of the year for 2022 so far?
You know, I've been saying that Cole verse on Johnny P's Caddy, right?
Mm-hmm.
What else you got for that? I
Well,
think that was the tone. That was the tone setter. And
I
so I
thought
think we're clear
about
that that set the tone. And so now that we're clear that that verse set the tone for the year, do you have something to usurp the tone setter?
Jay Short says Puffy too. I guess he said took. Puffy took his sampling formula from MC Hammer. Mr.
No, he
Mike
didn't.
says, don't forget Casino, Man of Respect, featuring the Locks. Casino, Man of
Right.
Respect, featuring the
Casino.
Locks.
Yeah.
Yeah, Casino. Yo, I think Yonder's Yasin Bey's verse on Yonder's was one
Okay.
of the first ones that popped in my head.
Okay.
And I also I think that Kendrick Lamar's last verse on Ma I Sober.
Uh,
You don't think? You
maybe.
don't think Kendrick's last verse on Auntie's Diaries?
Okay, I'm more on the Auntie Diaries than Mama I Sober if we're going verse of the year. Because I told you the ending, it's not a question if that's the best ending to a rap song this year. And it's probably going to remain that way. Like, that's what I'm saying is it's
Yeah.
like, oh, no. Faggot, faggot, faggot. But only if you let a white girl call you nigga. Just the ending alone. It's like, it's like, oh, that's where you're going to end the song? It's like, oh, no. Literary devices, writing skills on 10.
Man
What
there with the
about this
super
rap
chat
shit we're
says
doing now?
Cole's top 5 features only. The fall off on the way. Oh man, yeah. He's top 5 with just features. I mean, are we gonna get a Cole album this year? I hope
If
so.
we get a Cole album this year that's comparable to the features, he's going to end up being the MC of the year.
Definitely.
And
Most
I'll say
definitely.
that, and I'll say that with Nas and Thought coming out because I feel like he's having a moment. And I'm actually going to show some North Carolina bias and like Homer shit, and just like put my chips behind Cole. I'm going to take Cole as MC of the year this year if he's going to drop a solo project, and that's with Nas and Thought included. And I think everybody that's on the show knows how I feel about Nas and Thought. Nas is the greatest MC of all time, in my opinion. Black Thought is the walking standard for bars, but if J. Cole is going to drop a project this year, and when I mean a project, the project we've been talking about, Mike, where he raps over other people's beats instead of his own, like he's doing on Johnny P's Caddy and on the Dreamville mixtape.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
his
definitely.
time.
And I'm glad you
His
brought up the
time.
Dreamville joint. Um,
I got that on my. That almost made my top 10 list.
yeah, man. That
That's
Earth
up there
Gang
too.
shit
That's
was
a top.
crazy too. Yeah.
That's a top 20 rap album this year so far. I just don't know if it's gonna make the cut.
What was I gonna say? All right, this is what I was gonna say. What if King's Disease 3 is more like King's Disease 2 and not like Magic Mike performance wise?
When you're saying that, go ahead. I'm sorry. Did I cut
No,
you
no,
off?
no, no, no. I was done.
When you were saying that, listen to what I'm about to say, and I've been giving this some thought. King's Disease 2 is probably going to go down as Nas's most versatile mic performance on an album. He doesn't have a more versatile mic performance.
He
Life
gets
is
pegged
Good is
as
going to
being
be.
one dimensional, yes.
Huh?
He gets pegged as being one dimensional, yes.
Well, no. Okay, so even when you say that, that's like calling Barry Sanders one dimensional. It's like,
You can't stop
a guy
it.
that's right. Well, how about this? It's like, well, give me that one dimensional. That one dimensional is good for 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns every season. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like when you're saying he's one dimensional. It's like, well, no. The stuff that
I'm
he's
not
good
saying
at.
that. He gets pegged.
No. I
That.
get what people are saying when they're saying that. If you're saying that the guy that's on Illmatic and It Was Written doesn't do anything but rap his ass off, like, I will tell you, yes. But much like Barry Sanders just running a football outright, it's like, well, who's better at doing that, though?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I say that it's like, well, you're not gonna find like an I Gave You Power or Take It in Blood or Silent Murder lyrical moment. And you're not gonna find a timeless theme like Life's a Bitch or The World Is Yours on KD2. Like, you're not gonna find that. You're not even gonna find that banger like Made You Look. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But what you have is the totality of him and all of him showing up and performing at a high level on every level every single time. Like everything that he is, like everything that's been inconsistent about him as an artist shows up consistently on KD2. And that's the classic part about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, Nas the Baller is on 10 on YKTV and Brunch on Sunday. Nas the MC, no, he's on 10 on Rare and on Store Run. The Storyteller, Death Row East. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He's on 10 everywhere except lyrically, like he is on Magic.
Yeah.
Everything else he's on 10 about. It's his most well-rounded performance. KD2 is Nas's most well-rounded performance as an MC. Stillmatic and Life is Good have inconsistencies that this project doesn't have that keep it from being that.
Magic, he gave us something that well, at least me, I didn't know he still had in him.
Right.
Midget Mike says Kendrick Cry Together didn't RZA do domestic violence? Yes.
Correct.
LP says, what are you gonna say when Fonte drops his solo album? LOL. We're gonna listen to it. We love Fonte.
So this is what I'm saying. So the guy that's on Magic, oh no, that's the guy from Illmatic and It Was Written. What I'm telling you is the guy that's on KD2, that's the guy that's from Illmatic, It Was Written, I Am, Godson, Distant Relatives, Lost Tapes. Not, you get what I'm saying? Like, no, all the guys are on KD2. All of the guys. All of them. And he performs. Count Me In. Like, Count Me In is one of those records. It's like, oh, you're making records like that at this point in your career, at this point in this album. It's like, oh, this dude's as versatile and as diverse as he's ever been. And that's where KD2 is a classic. It's his versatile classic because it's superior to Life is Good.
You know, if KD3 comes out to be anywhere as good as KD2 and Magic even, or even KD1, man, this Jay-Z hole gets bigger and bigger, man. This span gets bigger and bigger. We need a Jay-Z album, man. Us Jay-Z fans who've been arguing for Jay-Z's dominance all these years and been talking about how much better he has gotten over the years and nobody's been good this long and his consistency. We need an album from Jay. We do. We need it.
The best thing that could actually happen to Jay is for this album to be closer to KD1 than it is KD2 or Magic, because it'll actually give him a small opening to make people think. It's like, okay, Nas had a nice little run right quick. That was a nice little late career surge that we ain't never seen. Okay, cool, where Jay is at. But what I really think that is about to happen is that I think this album lyrically is not about to be Magic, but somewhere better than KD2. And I think diversity-wise, it's not about to be KD2, but it's not about to be as lyrically dense as Magic. And if he pulls that off, that's that Stillmatic shit.
I agree with you 100% because I also feel shit. The fact that, I mean, the way the Magic came off, man, like I said, if you would have told me those Magic songs were older, I would have believed you. The content was so current and up to date. Like, he was talking about stuff that happened like 3 weeks before that. And so if that's where he is skill-wise, and that's where he is as far as, like you said, song-making-wise with KD2, this one is about to be crazy. And they're listening to the people, too. They know what the people want to hear. They hear the responses. They probably hear our conversations talking about these efforts. They have a standard now. Like, and they work well together.
So here's what I will tell you. So let's just go through this right quick. And I think I'm pretty certain on this too. Illmatic and It Was Written are still his two best albums.
Yeah.
No shame in that. There's no shame in that. But I think Magic, you think Magic's going down better than Stillmatic?
You know, you told me I was crazy when I said that about Magic initially over Stillmatic. But Stillmatic does have, like, some of those big showstoppers, man.
Right, so I still have Stillmatic at number 3.
Stillmatic's 3.
And I would put Magic at 4 already.
I think so, too. I'm okay with that. Armand says, hold that thought real quick. This super chat's been hanging for a second. Says, Cormega should also be mentioned in this pushing the independent route for NYC back in the early 2000s. Don't forget The Realness 2 is dropping this year, too. We will be on the lookout for that.
So homie,
Bryant Lamar says the Nasir album was the start. Jay needs to start dropping ASAP. He needs to, unlike Nas. LP says if K Dot dropped KD2, we would be calling him the GOAT. Yeah, the hype. The hype was real. Jay Short
hold on.
says,
More money?
seen Nas rest on his laurels before, though. Caution.
No.
Okay.
Granted, that's how that Firm album and I Am and Nostradamus happened, right?
Yes.
So we would go Illmatic, It Was Written, Stillmatic, Magic, right?
Correct.
So listen to what I'm about to tell you. After that, it's probably be Lost Tapes, KD2, Life is Good, right?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Lost Tapes would be fifth. Lost Tapes will round up the top 5. And then you go to KD2, Life is Good. I'm sorry, you would go to KD2, Godson, Life is Good. I'm sorry.
I'm okay with saying that KD2 is better than Lost Tapes.
Are you? I feel it's a more...
I think it's all around better. I mean, we were debating Magic or KD2.
Okay, so you're cool with putting KD2 at number 5, which put Lost Tapes at 6, Godson at 7, and Life is Good at 8, right?
I'm cool with that.
Okay, I think what they are working on right now is probably going to land somewhere between Stillmatic and KD2. So I think they're in the process of making his 5th best album. Because if you have KD2 at number 5, I think lyrically he's about to be better. And I think song-wise is about to be more diverse. And I'm serious when I'm saying this. He just needs something comparable to fuck with something like Death Row East. Death Row East is really special, and I'm going to say that again.
Leroy Green said something that I want to acknowledge. He's saying a lot, actually. But one of the things that he said Jay has to compete with everybody in terms of sound. Nas doesn't. Jay doesn't have to do anything. That's the thing. If Jay is who he is, he's Hov, right? He should be able to set the pace. Why does he have to compete with everybody else sonically and Nas doesn't? Jay is a leader.
Because he chose to play that game. No, because he chose to play that game and Nas never chose to play that game. That's why.
Nas chose to play that game at some point, but Nas chose to stop playing that game. Just like he has the ability to stop playing that game. He's the draw, right?
Right.
He can make whatever he wants.
Literally from like 96 to 99.
He can make whatever he wants. And I think we talked about this offline. I think that that's when he falls short, when he tries to do those things. I think those are the holes in the blueprint. No pun intended. The Blueprint album, where it falls short, is when he tries to do the jigga jigga that nigga jigga thing. Or he tries to get Timbaland to do a whole lot Ovito, and he recruits Eminem for, his success at that time to do Renegade. Those are the 3 songs that don't fit on that album. And those were all attempts at being relevant sonically. So no, I agree with what Leroy Green is saying, like I guess just contextually, but I think that's where he falls short, and he at this point in his career shouldn't have to do any of that. He's Jay-Z. Make what you want to make. Make what you're great at making. An American Gangster would be very good for him right now. Mannan says Nas on Distant Relatives lyrically is up there also. Distant Relatives is a great album. LP says, absolutely not. Lost Tapes is becoming underrated. The stuff that we're giving K-Dot credit for, Nas covered on Lost Tapes. It's more personal. It's more personal than people know. Yeah.
I told you, there's nothing that Kendrick Lamar is expressing on Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers that hasn't been expressed by Nas, Tupac, and Kanye in generations prior. Not one. It's not one original idea. It's not like Mike. There's literally not one original concept or idea. When Nas is talking about on Lost Tapes, no idea is original. There's nothing new under the sun. It's never what you do, but how it's done. The Kendrick Lamar album is a prime example of that. It's like, I've seen Chuck D cover these topics, Ice Cube cover these topics, Scarface cover these topics, Nas cover these topics, Kanye cover these topics. But this generation thinks that Kendrick is the only one that covers these topics. It's like, okay, you don't know shit when you say that. I hope you understand how you sound to the rest of the hip hop community. That's what I mean about him being deified. There's a whole legion of people out there that think that he's Chuck D.
You're right.
When we got Chuck D and the whole legion of people that Chuck D inspired that been put this shit down, like Nas and Ice Cube and Scarface and Kanye. You get what I'm saying? It's like, no, we already had Chuck D, y'all. Y'all missed Chuck. Go put on Fear of a Black Planet, and it takes a nation of millions to hold us back and shut the fuck up about this Kendrick shit.
Leroy Green says Jay got to be a leader. Nas doesn't.
Because Nas is a leader by nature because people follow him, like Wu-Tang Clan. Wu-Tang's forever. What does RZA say about the best lyrics he ever heard? RZA will sit up there and tell you best lyrics ever is Rakim's run from 86 to 88 and Nas's run up to 96. That's RZA.
They call him a prophet.
About Nas. No, Wu-Tang forever. Ghost talk about Nas, be like, yo, I told the nigga like he blessed with God or something.
This is what they say.
This is Wu-Tang Clan we talk about. This is how
the
Wu-Tang
most
Clan
lyrical
talk about
team
Nas.
says, yeah.
That's how Wu-Tang Clan talk about Nas.
Well, I mean, Leroy Green said that I said Jay-Z needs hits.
He doesn't need hits, but he's made his career off playing that type of game. He has enough. He's a standard bearer, Mike, so he doesn't need hits, I think, is what Leroy is saying. It's like, no, standard bearers don't need hits. And he's right about that.
He's built his career off of that necessity. Let's just say right now. Let's just say hypothetically next Friday Jay-Z drops an album because honestly, 444 had no hits on it, right? I think we can all say that. 444 had no hits on it. But it was highly revered. It was highly regarded from his fan base. Well, I don't say his fan base because I'm part of his fan base. I didn't love the album. I don't listen to the album at all. I'm just keeping it a buck. But that showed right then he doesn't quote unquote need hits, but he's built his dominance in this whole, rap sphere and him being the God. Well, I won't say the God MC. That's always gonna be Rakim. But even him being Hove and him being that leader and just being such a big presence that if he drops another album that doesn't have any hits, it's going to look a little weird.
See, that's the thing. See, he's like 50-something now. Nobody's expecting you to come out here.
I agree. I'm with you on that.
I don't want, Leroy, listen to me. I don't want to hear Jay come out and try to fit in and make hits. Because listen, what I'm enjoying so much about what Nas is doing right now as an all-time great MC is that he's doing the things that Nas does well. Like King's Disease 1 is a great nostalgic Nas album. It's not one of his best albums. Like KD1 would be somewhere in the middle of his catalog looking at it. But understand when it came out, it set people on fire because he got back in touch with some of those nostalgic things that make people love him. Like I'm going to tell you what. For somebody that loves The Firm and loved The Firm album and hated what it didn't do and couldn't be, it was great to hear that Firm song and hear Dr. Dre come in at the end. It was great to hear him reminisce about his old days on Car 85. It was good to see him update his formula on 27 Summers. But there is not a hit on KD1 except for Spicy, which they put down as a bonus track intentionally to not put any pressure on it to be a hit.
You don't think extra black, ultra black is a hit?
No, I don't. I mean, I think it's a great record.
Obama came out to that.
Huh?
Obama came out to that in his.
You're not the ultra black. I guess you could say that. No, you could say ultra black's a hit. How about this?
I think Obama put it on his playlist too.
Is Ultra Black going on Nas's greatest hits?
No.
You thought Ultra Black was the best song on that album. Do you still feel that way?
You know what? That's an interesting question.
Remember when you said that?
Yeah, I did say that. Yeah. Long time ago when it came out.
You did.
I did say that. I don't know if I'm going to stick by that, but I like Ultra Black.
No, I like Ultra Black too, but it's like, well, I told you, it's like, no, that new shit he doing 27 Summers and Spicy, I was like, I think it's holding up better, and it did. Yeah. See, he made new stuff without making a hit, and it held up well, and you want to know why? Because he did what Nas does. And all Jay needs to come out and do is really do what Jay does.
But does Jay know what Jay does in this era? That's the question.
That's what the problem is, and that's what we need to find out. Because what we found out on KD1 is that, like, Well, that was actually Nas figuring back out what was going on with him in today's climate. And then he went out and started doing what Nas really does on KD2 and Magic. And I think we know what those results are like. And so, like I told you, it's like, I'm not expecting Jay to release KD2 or Magic because I don't think that's fair. I didn't have that expect. Mike, do you remember how I was talking before King's Disease was coming out? Was I excited?
No. I mean, you just wanted to see where it was going to go. No expectations. And
was I mean, people need to know because I'm such a big Nas fan and this thing has taken off since then. Mike will tell you, it's like when King's Disease was coming out, I was like, okay.
We'll see.
Cool. We'll see what he do with it.
Yeah.
And then I listened to King's Disease. I was like, Mike, this is the best shit he's made since Life is Good. It sounds like he still wants to rap.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't even sure how much he still wanted to rap. And that's why I was like, oh, well, if he's into it, I'm into it, I guess.
And Magic, he really wanted to rap.
Turns out he really wanted to rap, Mike. Turns out he's still a microphone fiend. It turns out he's still the guy from The World Is Yours. You know, the beats make me falling asleep. I keep falling, but never falling 6 feet deep. Like the guy that's fiending for the microphone, writing rhymes past the margin. Yeah.
Jay Short says, no, Jay never set the pace. Illmatic, Bad Boy, Rough Riders, Kanye, Common. He's stuck now because there's no people in rap who sound to jump on. Excuse me. Man, y'all
you echoed some of those sentiments of saying that, like, and I've said it in jest, but we need to say it with more like business acumen. He's very, very savvy. And so he's very good at seeing what's going on and fitting himself into that. It's just, I mean, and I'm just keeping it real when I'm saying this, but when you're married and you got kids and you're 50, that's just harder to do. I don't care how cool you are. Like, he was the coolest guy and the most charismatic guy in the room for a long time. But even that guy gets married, has a couple kids, and gets a house on the hill. And so what he did really, really well in the sphere as an artist in terms of being able to gauge and connect, it's like some of that has been inherently taken from him. It's called life.
This is the first era also, just from his fame, that he's been this isolated. I think him and Eminem are probably the most isolated stars that hip-hop has. And that has to affect the music. You know what I mean? You're not, because hip-hop is an energy. And I don't even count Eminem in this because I never really thought Eminem made hip-hop music like that anyway. So he don't have to really be out there in the scene. He could just sit in his bubble, do what he does, and do numbers. But Jay doesn't have that luxury. Like, Jay has to really be engulfed in what's going on. And being isolated, it's very tough to do. LP says, leaders lead by example. Nas showing improvement. Damian Jones says, that J bar, what you eat don't make me shit, was said first by Nas. Don't you think that makes Jay look suspect?
No.
Nas said that first?
Not bar for bar, but I know what he's talking about.
Okay.
So here's what I will say here's what I'll say about Jay in that respect is that, like, okay, so let's look at it respectively. It's like, well, he does, like, he's great. He's a tipping point guy. He's not the guy that creates the trend. He sets the trend off. And I've always told you this.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he's a tipping point guy. He doesn't start the trend. He helps set it off because he embodies a coolness, a confidence, and a charisma that makes whatever it is that he's selling the thing to sell. He's got that in spades, even over Big and Pac, including Nas. He's got that over all of them, okay? What I'm saying is that trait is good when you're 25 and you're active. I don't know how that trait works when you're 50 and you're not active. But here's what I know that works. Well, he's great at literary devices, as Leroy Green always says. And so when I'm saying, no, I'm serious when I say this. All that literary device shit that he does, well, that's actually amplified in 96 and 97. And so when I'm saying I want 97 Hove, I'm not saying I want the hustling ass nigga that's still like out here shooting, robbing, selling. It's like, no. I don't want that guy. I want the MC that's hungry and that's approaching the game like it's his for the taking. Because one thing that I've seen for Nas on the last two projects, he started addressing it again like the young man. that he was. That's where Death Row East is coming from. That's where the whole vibe for Magic is coming from. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I want
think
him to
Jay's
do.
going to
He
do
don't
something
have to go
special for
ride
Volume 1 this year, though.
He doesn't have to ride anybody else's waves. He's Jay. Go do what Jay does.
I think he's about to do something special for Volume 1. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear that Jay-Z again when it comes to the new material. 25 years.
And never understate this. Once upon a time, he signed Nas to Def Jam, and they were like, well, what do you want to do with Nas? He's like, man, I want to take him out, get him outside, take him to a party, take him to a club. It's like, I swear when I hear him rap now, I was like, well, somebody take this nigga to a party. Take this nigga to the club. Will somebody take him out?
DeCarlo says Biggie's still better than both.
Next time B go on tour, somebody go pick Jay up and take him out for a couple nights. Next time she go on tour.
DeCarlo says Biggie's still better than both. R.I.P. to the greatest.
In a vacuum, yes. Yes.
Biggie was incredible. With some more super chats I know we're missing. LP says JB quoting Mark Twain like he wrote it.
No, that's cool.
He doesn't write. That's the thing. He's taking in his memory and regurgitating.
He's a sponge. He's literally soaking up the information, so he takes it from everywhere. We all as artists like do that on some sort of level. He just does it on a lyrical level. Like he literally is a vacuum cleaner of words. So he will take your words and suck them all down and regurgitate them into his form. Yeah.
LP says the KD series is proving that Jay is lucky Nas didn't have a business mind that he had. If he did, this would be his output when he was on his run with his label. Problem.
His output's always been high. It's been the label.
Yeah, the label just wasn't putting it out.
Nas has like triple the unreleased material floating around that Jay has, and comparable album material. So